Hi, I'm Kate.
I'm Gordon.
And we are Bowfield Life Casting Studio. We make bronze life castings, and today we're going to show you how to make a plaster life casting of your baby's hand with Greer. Alright, we're going to use what's called alginate to take our mold. Alginate is a seaweed-based gel that dentists use to take molds of your teeth. So it's completely non-toxic, it's very gentle, won't hurt your baby at all. Alginate comes in a powder, and we're going to mix it with water. Alright? The kind of alginate we use is called AccuCast. You can get it online, and for babies we use what's called AccuCast 380cc, which is nice because it goes from pink to white as it gels, so it gives you a visual indication that it's working. What you're going to need a bunch of clear buckets, the right size for your baby's hand, so make sure there's room for your baby to move a little bit, but not this much room. You're going to need stir sticks, and you're going to need some water. Do not use metal bowls because alginate will stick to it, and don't wear nice clothes because if it gets in the fabric of your clothes, it won't come out. Before you begin, you're going to want to measure out everything you need to take the impressions. You're probably going to want to take 2 to 3 impressions per hand or foot that you're doing, just because you don't know how the baby's going to respond. Usually takes a couple of tries. So I have measured out here 27 ounces of water and 7 ounces of alginate. The ratio is 4 waters to 1 alginate. Doesn't have to be completely precise, but as close as you can get. The water should be around 95 degrees. That's the perfect temperature where it's warm for the baby. It'll gel at a nice pace. Shoot for 95 degrees. All right, here we go. We're going to mix up our water and our alginate. Water always goes into the bucket first, followed by alginate. Okay, so the alginate kind of floats on the top of the water, and you want to just try to stir it in as quickly as you can. And mix it up. This is why also we have a big bucket, because the alginate kind of flies out. There we go. Now when it's all mixed up, we have a kind of an oatmeal-y, clumpy texture. Okay, when you have it mixed up, pour it back into your small bucket, and I am ready for the baby. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. You ready? The hand goes in, and she doesn't like it. And the hand comes out a little just to make sure it gets all over her. And then we just hold her in. Come here.
Look what's happening.
Ooh, goopy. Good girl.
There you go. That's it.
What does it feel like, sweetie? So I'm waiting for it the moment when it sort of peels away from her skin. So it's still a little goopy on top. You want to get it really close. If I can move it away from her. No, not quite. Wait till it separates from the top of her arm really cleanly. Okay, we're really close. This is looking really good. Okay, we're really good. Good job, Greer. Good job. And now all we do is pull her. She's going to help me. And it's kind of like a little suction. We're just going to plop, pull it right out. And there you go. Ta-da!
Yay!
Good job.
Okay, so now we're going to pour the plaster into the alginate mold that we just made. The plaster that I use is called Liquistone, and we also get that from AccuCast off their website. The ratio of water to plaster is 1 to 2.3, so I have 100 grams of water to 230 grams of plaster. So we can just mix this right into this bucket. You always pour the powder into the liquid to keep it from making clumps. Okay, so when we get all the plaster into the water, and before we start stirring, we're going to let the plaster absorb the water for a minute. So when the plaster has absorbed the water, you give it a stir just to make sure it's all mixed in. And then give it a couple of bumps on the table, make the bubbles come to the top. Okay, so when we take our alginate mold, it's important that you look inside and see which way all the fingers are pointing. And you want to make sure that the fingers are pointing down so that when you pour the plaster in, it sinks into them and doesn't leave bubbles at the ends of your fingers. So that would be this way. And we just pour the plaster down the side of the mold. Give it a couple more bumps. Pull the bubbles away from the side of the mold. And in about 20 minutes, this will be hard enough to demold. To demold the plaster from the alginate, I like to pick the spittle plaster off the top first. And if you take a regular butter knife and run it between the bucket and the alginate, it should just pop right out like this. Okay, so now we take the butter knife and we make tiny little cuts in the alginate, but just to start it. And this is where we're going to peel the alginate off of the plaster, and it should just come right off. You want to be careful at this point not to break off any fingers or thumbs. We're generally going to have two types of things that we might want to fix. One of them is bubbles that go into the plaster, and the other is bubbles that stick out of the plaster. So the bubbles that stick out of the plaster, again with just a butter knife, we'll use this one, you can just take the butter knife and pop it off, and then it's gone. So to fill in the holes that go inside the plaster, make up just a tiny little bit of plaster, and you can just squish it into the holes. This part doesn't have to be very tidy. And then with the brush, you can just brush away the excess plaster. And the holes get filled. So here's the reason that we make 3 molds of the hand. So the first one that we made, the fingers are pretty straight, as you can see, and the plaster filled the mold completely. And I got a really good casting on this one. The second one that we made, these 2 fingers here started to curl over a little bit, and when you pour the plaster in, this part of the mold is pointing up, and the plaster can't go down and then up, it can only go down, so it doesn't fill any of the parts that are pointing up. So there's that one, and then this one, all of the fingers were pointing up, and so we didn't get the tips of these 3 fingers because we couldn't get the plaster to go up into the mold, we can only get it to go down.
If you want to learn more about our bronzes, please visit our website, bowfieldlifecasting.com.